So now our Yukon's all painted. It's time to put it back together. First thing we have to do is fix these door handles we broke. The bolts are tightened into the metal inserts in these door handles with Loctite. So when you try to take them loose, they generally crack. If you do it by hand, you're guaranteed 100% of the time to break them. If you hit them with an impact, you have a slight chance of getting them off. And you can buy new ones because it's pretty common. A lot of times people go out to their car and pull the door handle and the door handle comes off in their hand. And I've replaced a lot of them, but I found that repairing them actually lasts longer. So that's what we're gonna do. First thing you got to do is just grind off a little extra so that that metal insert will slide back in, no problem. We'll clean all the old stuff out that we ground out of there, the dust. And then we'll epoxy these pieces back in. If there's any cracks, we're going to fill the cracks in. We'll grind the cracks out and fill them in. If they're not cracked, you just coat the little metal insert with epoxy and push it in there and then let it sit.
What is this you're doing?
The ends of these come out. We're mixing up our epoxy.
Just epoxy.
We're just going to coat our insert. Now we'll push it down into the door handle. Make sure you get it all the way in. Now we'll do our next one. Same way. Push it all the way in. Now we got the last one. This one had a crack down the side of it, so we ground it out. Now we're gonna fill it in. You can use as much as you want on here, as long as you don't get it in the threads of the bolt you're trying to take out. So now we're going to glue the outside a little bit just to strengthen it up. I had a little extra epoxy. So now we'll let that sit. We'll start putting the rest of our truck together. Give it some time to dry. So we're going to take apart our old bumper. Pull the lower valance off. Just has plastic tabs. There's 2 screws at each end. Then there's plastic tabs. You just unclip them and pull it out. I'll take the bumper absorber off. It's got 6 little plastic screws that go into it. Now you can pull the grill off. It just has some tabs. You release the tabs and it pops out. Just go around the grill, release them all until it's out. I'll pull the fog lights out. Just squeeze the little tabs in and pop them out. This one, the adjuster came out of it, and just snap it back in. Squeeze the tabs and push them down. And then the whole assembly comes out. Now we're going to take the lower grill off. Just got a bunch of tabs in the center. You just release them and push them through. And then there's a couple Christmas trees on each side. Pull that whole piece out. Now we can put our new bumper together. Put our J-nuts on. Now we can put our lower valance on. Just snaps in. I don't snap it all the way in at first because sometimes you gotta move it a little bit. So you just get it close. So you have all the tabs in and then you can snap them all the way in. You can screw the ends in. I can put our plastic pieces on the bottom. This is where the bumper mounts to the reinforcement. Put our fog lights in. They just push in. Line up the 3 holes and push them in. Same thing on the other side. Now we can put the lower grill on. Just push it in. Put our clips in each side. I'll put the upper grill in. Just snap all the tabs in. Styrofoam, bumper absorber, whatever you want to call it. Screw it all in there. Now we're going to change the steering wheel. Our other one, even though it has lower miles, is pretty worn out. You didn't think you could get a video without an air chisel in it, right? So if you pull on the steering wheel and hit the center of it, the air chisel pops right out. Instead of using the actual removal tool, it's a lot faster. And I've actually had jobs where the removal tool wouldn't work because somebody had tightened the nut too tight. So I had to use the air chisel method, which actually ended up working. Bolt the steering wheel back in, plug in our radio controls. We're ready to go. We're gonna put the doors together. Put our cavity wax in the doors we have apart. Keep them from rusting out at the seams. And we can put our window channel in. Drop our glass in. Make sure it works. Slide it down into the regulator. Put our belt molding on. Put our mirror on. Put our window up so we can tighten up the regulator. Check and make sure our window works. I'm going to be kind of jumping around today. I'm trying to stay ahead of the other guys working on the truck, so I'm working around them. We'll put our door handle in. Tighten it up. Put all of our plugs back in. I'll put our door panel on. A little door lock on. Make sure it's going to stay. Put all the covers back on after we put the bolts in. Now onto the back door. Put our cavity wax in the seams. And put our window channel in. Put our belt molding on. And put our glass in. Put it down in the regulator, then put the regulator up so we can tighten it down. Check and make sure it works. Put our window sweep in. And then put our door handle on. I'm not using the impact to tighten these up because I don't want to risk breaking them. So I just tighten them by hand. Caps back in. And put our door panel back on. Plug it in. Hook up the inside door handle. And slide it down into place. Put our bolts in it, the old-fashioned way. That's too lazy to go get the impact. Put our door lock on. Now onto the front end. Put the headlights in. And put the running board on the driver's side. Like I said, I'm going to jump around a lot. I have to stay out of his way, so he's working on the side of the truck. I'll work on this side of the truck. Bolt our running board in. I'll change the bumper bracket on the driver's side. Just 2 bolts in the bottom. This was actually a new bracket. Put the hood molding on. Just snaps in. We'll put the passenger side headlight in. Bolt it all in. Put the bumper bracket on, bottom of the fender. Now we're ready to put the bumper on. Slide it in. Try not to mess up the paint. Really upsets my painter when I do that. Put a couple bolts in the top. Then we can clip our sides in. Bolt the top in. Make sure everything lines up. And put our closeout panel on the top. Pop all of our clips in. I'll put the running board on the passenger side. Tighten it all up. I'll put our D-pillar trim in. Just slides in and tabs in the front. And it's got 2 screws in the back. Put our taillight in. Drop the harness down there. Push the 2 outer tabs in. And put 2 screws on the inside. And we'll climb underneath and plug it back in. Put the rear bumper on. Slide the outsides in. Clip them in. And put all the screws in the back. Screws in the bottom. Plug in our parking sensors. And put the screws in the wheel wells. Now we're going to pull the seats out. And now we can find out why I've been calling it the Yuckon. The only thing worse for car interiors than a fire? Kids. So it needs a little cleaning. My detail guy will have some fun. Now we got the battery disconnected, so we can start doing our airbag stuff. Just plug in the driver's airbag and push it in. Horn doesn't work because battery's disconnected. Hopefully it works when we're done. Throw the wheel liner in. The other wheel liner in. This is the driver's side. Put all of our plastic clips in. Now we're on to the seat belts. These are rebuilt. We sent them out at the beginning a week ago. Now they're back. And they're still not paying me, so I'm not advertising who did them. Pull our gasket out of the trim panel there. And bolt the top in. Plug in our pre-tensioner. Now we can put the B-pillar trim on, the lower piece. Snap it in. And pull our gasket out again. Put our sew plate in. Put the little cover on the top. Just snaps on. Make sure our seatbelt works like it's supposed to. Relocate Mr. Spotty. I'll hook up the rest of the seatbelt to the seat. Bolt it in. Plug in our plastic covers. And put our seat back. Check and make sure the seatbelt buckles. Now onto the passenger side. The lower retractor in. Bolt it in. Plug it in. Clip the plug into the B-pillar. And we'll cut our zip ties off. Hopefully not cutting the seatbelt. Pull that upper trim so we can get to that clip in the middle. Now you can put the upper trim back on. Screw in the top. Bolt it in. Check and make sure it works. Put cover on. I'll put the lower B-pillar trim on. Pull the gasket out again. Lose interest in that method, so I just pulled the whole gasket out, put it back in. Sometimes the gaskets go underneath the trim panel and over it. This time it just kind of slides over it, so it's easier to pull it off and just push it back on. We'll bolt the seatbelt back to the seat. Put all our covers back on. Put our seat back. So I had a lot of questions on what scanner I use to clear the codes for the airbag system. And I know everybody doesn't want to spend a fortune for a snap-on scanner. So I looked around and I found something that's a little bit more economical for the do-it-yourselfer. I found this Topdon OBD CAN Elite. It's a full function code reader. It'll also give you data stream, read and clear TTCs in engine systems, ABS and SRS. It works on 24 different vehicle brands: Chrysler, Ford, GM, Acura, Audi, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Citroen, Holden, Mini, Peugeot, Porsche, Seat, Skoda, Volvo, VW, Honda, Hyundai, Infiniti, Kia, Lexus, Mazda, Nissan, and Toyota. Instead of spending thousands on a snap-on scanner or sending all your modules out to have them reprogrammed, if you're able to clear them yourself, this thing will do it for you. So I've used this scanner on a couple other cars since, and I was able to clear the stored airbag codes on it. It's also pretty good for me if I just need a quick scanner just to read codes in my daily mechanical job. It's also nice for reading the readiness monitors. So there's a link in the description below if you want to pick one of these up. Right now they're offering a discount if you click the link. Go ahead and check it out. Again, I'd like to thank Topdon for sponsoring this video, and hope it helps you guys out a little bit. Okay, so we got it plugged in. I'm going to set it all up here. It's my first time using it, so we'll see how it goes. Put in our vehicle. Yukon. Maybe with the body. Chassis would be ABS. I don't know why I selected the base radio, because it has navigation. So we can go back. Set the little back button. Go down to navigation. It's got auto AC. Now select the SRS system. Now we're interested in reading the codes. So you can see we got 6 codes. This B0052, that's the one that won't clear when you fix everything. These are all the seatbelt pretensioners and airbags that went off. And then back to the B0052. The reason there's 2 of those is that's a current code. The other ones have all been repaired, so the light would be off if it wasn't for that 0052. So we'll clear them all out. See if our light goes out. All right, they all cleared. I'll go back and read the codes. There's nothing to read. So this clears out that code. So we're all good. Don't need to spend thousands of dollars for a snap-on scanner. And you don't have to send your modules out to be cleared. You can do it yourself. So now that that's all done, we're going to change our master cylinder. It's dirty. I can't have a dirty part on my car. Actually, it's just bad. You press the brake pedal down slowly, it just sinks to the floor. So we're going to replace it. It was probably bad before the accident. So you pull the brake booster supply off. It doesn't have vacuum in it. Otherwise, it's hard to get the master cylinder out. You just loosen up the lines. And unbolt the master from the truck. Now we've already bled it out. We can put it back on. Bolt it back in. Tighten up our lines. Now we're going to repair our wheel. It's got a little dent in the lip there. These things are kind of pricey used and very pricey new. We're going to pull the tire sensor off just because we're going to be heating in that area. I don't want to risk melting it. So we're going to heat up our edge a little bit. So we found something that's round, so we can kind of put a round contour in it. And we're going to push it out. Just going to use our tire machine to do it. So now it's cooled off a little bit. We're going to heat it up a little bit more. And then realize that the tire machine tower does not stay in place. So we're going to make it stay in place. Just going to wrap our chain around the back to our wheel. So we'll be pulling against the chain. This is not what this is made for. Sometimes you need to adapt and overcome. It's cooled down, so we're going to heat it up a little more. Get it nice and hot. And we're double fisting the torches. Keep a little tension on it while we're heating it. Now we got the big part out. Now we're just going to move around the edges to get a nice round contour in it. Heat it up a little bit more. You want to keep it heated so it doesn't crack. Keep working that edge until it's nice and round again. We're going to tap it in a little bit, not too hard. Just enough to fine tune it and get it nice and straight. And by straight, I mean round. So now we're done. Take everything out of there. Try not to burn ourselves on the hot parts. Put our tire back on. We got a new set of tires, so put our new tires on. So I had a lot of people that said I needed 2 wheels for this job. I'm not sure why. I only bought one. Still don't see a reason I need to buy another. So like the video if you found it interesting. Share it if you think somebody else might. Subscribe if you want to see the rest of this build. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.